So what's going on, guys? Congratulations. We are near the end of our 6-week challenge, but that does not mean that your work is done. What we need to do next is a smart approach to enter maintenance. What is maintenance? Maintenance calories are the amount of food that you can eat that won't cause weight loss, but also won't cause weight gain. And there's a strategy to get there. We cannot just go from where we were to what we think maintenance might be, because that leads to gaining a lot of weight back on within the first couple weeks after your diet, and we don't want that. So 5-step approach for entering maintenance, okay? Step number 1 is stick to the foods that you've been eating in your diet phase. So don't start throwing in all the yummy junk food that you've been craving and missing. There will be time to do that, it's just not yet, okay? If you add that food in too early, you will greatly diminish the progress that you've made, especially the progress that you've made in the last 2 to 3 weeks of your diet, okay? So keep eating what you've been eating as far as the types of foods. Don't add in the super yummy stuff just yet. It will come, just not yet. Okay, so step 2 is we're gonna add 250 calories or 2 servings back into your diet, your daily diet. Those will come from either carbohydrate or fat or a combination of the two. You do not need to up your protein intake as long as you've been hitting that minimum floor of 0.8 grams per pound of body weight. If you're under that, well, then you need to add more protein, which you've probably heard me tell you many times before. But if you're already at that number, you're good. Add carbohydrate and add some fat. So again, step 2, add 250 calories if you've been counting calories and macros. If you've been using serving size, add 2 servings coming from either carbohydrates or fats, but these are the foods that you have been eating for the last several weeks during your diet. We're not gonna add those calories from junk foods that we haven't had for the last few weeks, okay? Again, we can add junk food in, just not yet. That will come later. Step 3 is watch your weight. So we need to be tracking how much we're weighing or how much we weigh to ensure that we are not going overboard on adding these calories in. So you guys gotta weigh yourself every day or every other day and watch that trend to make sure the weight is not either piling on or continuing to decrease, because we're gonna use that weight number to determine, are we adding more food, are we subtracting food, or are we at maintenance, okay? So step number 3 is watch your weight. We will expect a 2% increase in your body weight within the first week or so. That's coming from water. So don't stress out about that. We will expect, for instance, for easy math, if you finished your diet, your 6-week fat loss diet at 100 pounds, we would expect by the end of week 1 or 2 of that maintenance phase, you would be up to 102 pounds. That's completely expected. That is water weight. When we reduce our calories, especially if we reduce carbohydrates, we reduce water storage. So don't feel like you're adding weight back in that you lost. It's actually weight that you never really lost. It's fat that you didn't lose. It's just water weight, okay? So expect a 2% increase over the first week or 2. Next, because you're monitoring your weight after that week or 2, if you drop below 102% of that body weight, so if that 100-pound individual is now, after 2 weeks, 101 pounds, add in another 2 servings or 250 calories, okay? If you go above that 102%, you are likely around maintenance, which means you can remove that extra 250 calories or 2 servings and you are at maintenance. So that process can take anywhere from 3, or we'll say as quickly as 2 weeks to maybe as much as 6 weeks of adding calories, monitoring weight, adding calories, monitoring your weight. And so again, if your weight is staying at that 102% or below, each week, you get to add more calories. You reduce the calories only when the weight goes above that 102%. And once it goes above that 102%, you remove about 250 calories, and there, you're at maintenance. Now you're going to continue to monitor your weight, and anytime you drop below that 102%, so if you get back down to 101%, you get to add 250 calories back in. So this is the kind of game that we're going to be playing, adding calories, monitoring our weight, potentially subtracting calories, monitoring our weight until we figure out this is the amount of food that I need to eat to make sure my weight stays stable. And that leads into step number 4, which is stabilize. And stabilization takes, like I said, 2 to 6 weeks. More commonly, it's 3 to 4 weeks. And you know you're stabilized when you no longer need to make any of those adjustments. So your weight is stable, your food is stable, you're not adding food, you're not subtracting food, weight is not going up, weight is not going down. Within like reason, right? So half pound plus or minus, don't stress about that. Especially on daily changes, you'll see fluctuations. We're not going off the daily weight. We are going off the weight trend, which is why it's important that you weigh yourself every day. If you only weigh yourself every Sunday morning, we don't know what the trend is. You could have a great fluctuation in Sunday to Sunday, but that could be because of what you ate Saturday night, okay? So that's why we want to weigh ourselves every day. So you know you're stable when you're no longer gaining or losing weight. You're eating the same amount of foods. You won't feel very hungry all the time. And you'll be eating a lot of the foods that you have been eating over the last 6 weeks. So same types of foods, just much more of them. And then you are stable, right? And so then step 5 of the maintenance phase is introducing the yummy food back in. The junk food, on occasion, have a treat, have a small treat, have a big treat. It's all good. However, if your weight starts to trend above that 102%, we need to ease off the junk and ease off the treats, okay? We could also ease off the fat a little bit, but again, this is why it's important to monitor that body weight during our maintenance phase. If body weight starts to increase, we gotta get it in check and reduce those sweets. Now, if body weight is starting to decrease again, you get to add more food, okay? One thing that's really important, and this will get covered in the next video, which is mistakes on maintenance phase, is if you believe you are at maintenance, but you are losing weight, you are not at maintenance. You are still at a deficit and you need to add calories back in, okay? We are not going to turn maintenance phase into a slow fat loss phase. That completely defeats the purpose of maintenance, which is removing diet fatigue and resensitizing our metabolism. If you are losing weight during that period, you are not doing it right. You are still on a fat loss phase, okay? Lastly, how long can you expect maintenance to last? It will last as long, minimum, as your fat loss phase. So we just did a 6-week fat loss phase. I want maintenance to be minimum 6 weeks. Some of you want to extend that fat loss phase and have already talked to me about it. If you want to extend it to up to 12 weeks, so that's another 6 weeks, not another 12 weeks, another 6 weeks on top of the 6 weeks that we already did, that is 100% okay. I'm totally good with it, but that means you're going to be doing a 12-week maintenance after. Those of you who are stopping the fat loss phase after 6 weeks, you get to do 6 weeks of maintenance minimum before you do something else. Now, what is that something else? That something else can be another fat loss phase if you're not at that goal yet, or that something else could be a muscle building phase if you want to grow some tissue, or you can just stay at maintenance forever, right? And then every so often you monitor that body weight, and if you drop below 102% of where you ended your fat loss phase at, then you get to add more food. If you start trending above that 102%, then you get to subtract more food, okay? So that's maintenance explained. I know it's pretty complicated. Don't hesitate to ask me any specific questions about yourself, your weight, your food, your maintenance. If it's something personal that you want to keep between us, send it in a direct message. If it's a question that is more general or something that you think others will benefit from, ask it in the forum. And then the next video, which will be likely coming out tomorrow or sometime within the next few days, is going to be the mistakes that we make while entering maintenance. This video here is how are we entering maintenance and what is maintenance. The next video is going to be what mistakes are commonly made during maintenance, okay? Have a great day, everybody.